I used to believe that you could judge a person just by their zodiac sun sign. Like, their basic personality type would reveal everything about who they were deep down. For a long time, I thought if someone was a Leo, Aries, or Scorpio, that said it all: their intentions, how trustworthy they were, if they were loyal or not. But then, I ran into so many situations where that completely fell flat. People I thought I knew through their sun signs showed me sides I never expected. It made me realize the sun sign alone barely scratches the surface of someone's true character. The real gems, the parts that reveal who someone really is, how they react when the chips are down, how they treat others when no one's watching, those come from a couple of less obvious but far more telling placements in their chart. If you want a peek into the real heart of a man, the real essence of who he is underneath all the surface layers, watch his moon and his Venus signs. Those two placements together hold some of the most honest answers. It's like a window into emotional depth and core values that the sun sign just can't fully show you. Let me take you through why those two are so powerful and how paying attention to them changed how I view people and relationships entirely. I remember the first time I really started paying attention to the moon sign for a guy I was dating. His sun sign was in Gemini, so I expected him to be chatty and lighthearted, maybe a little flaky. I was always trying to figure out if he was serious about me or just having fun, and honestly, I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Then one night, we had this really tough conversation, something vulnerable about feelings and fears. And that's when his moon in Scorpio came through loud and clear. He got quiet, intense, and honest in a way I hadn't expected from a Gemini at all. It was like his emotional core took over, showing depth I didn't know he had. That moment changed everything for me, because it showed that beneath the playful sun sign was someone with real emotional complexity and loyalty. The moon sign rules emotions and how someone processes their feelings. And when you pay attention to it, you start seeing if someone's emotionally available or if they hide behind defenses. I know it seems a little astrology heavy at first, but once you catch this pattern in real life, it's like suddenly everything clicks about a person's vulnerability and what truly matters to them emotionally. It's what they feel before they think, where their gut and heart meet. Now, the crazy part is when you put that moon sign side by side with the Venus sign. Venus is about love, values, attraction, and what someone finds beautiful or worthwhile in life. It's like the heart's shopping list. It reveals what kind of people and behavior they're drawn to and how they show love and commitment. One of my biggest realizations was that a man's Venus sign can show you a huge part of his character too, because it reflects what he truly respects in relationships and how he treats those he cares about. For example, I once had a friend whose Venus was in Capricorn, which means his way of showing love was practical, serious, and sometimes a little guarded, even if his sun sign made him seem carefree or distant at first glance. His Venus put all those pieces together, showing that he wasn't going to waste time on flash or drama. He was about building something lasting, trusting, and steady. That meant he valued loyalty above all, even if it didn't always come wrapped in mushy words or grand gestures. Understanding Venus helped me see that character isn't always loud or obvious. It can be quiet strength and commitment in disguise. Here's the thing. When you look at a man's moon and Venus signs together, you're basically getting a map of his emotional world and his relationship blueprint. I started to test this out in everyday life, whether in dating, friendships, or even family connections, and the results blew me away. One guy had a fiery Mars in Aries, so he looked aggressive and impulsive, but his moon in Pisces and Venus in Libra softened everything when you knew him better. He was emotionally sensitive beneath that intensity and valued harmony over conflict. Another guy with a tough Capricorn sun, but a soft Cancer moon and a Taurus. Venus showed me the balance between ambition and nurturing. A man who could be both hard-working and deeply caring. It gave me a new way to see the contradictions in people, not as confusing, but as different layers of the same self. So what does this mean for you? If you want to figure out a man's true character, beyond just the surface-level sun, Signs start with these two placements. Ask yourself, what is his moon sign? Is he emotionally guarded, open, or maybe somewhere in between? Is he reactive or reserved with his feelings? Then check his Venus sign. What kind of love language does he use? Does he maybe show love through actions, gifts, words, or presents? Do his values around loyalty, trust, and intimacy align with what you need? The combination holds clues to whether he is someone who can be there in the toughest moments or just when things are easy. I know it might feel like a lot to learn at first. Just like I did, you might feel skeptical. How can astrology decode someone's character when people are so complex? At first, I resisted this idea too. I'm not saying astrology is a magic crystal ball, but once you understand it as a tool, a language for relating to emotions and values, it becomes incredibly practical. Like when you learn it, you actually start noticing behaviors and emotional patterns that match those signs in real life. It's not blind faith. It's thoughtful observation with a framework that makes sense. The moment I started watching these two signs, I stopped second-guessing if a man was really trustworthy or caring. Instead, I saw what they showed me consistently, whether they stayed through hard times or dipped out, how they handled conflict, and if they kept their word. Here's a quick personal story. I used to be the type to jump into relationships blind to red flags because the chemistry was good or because I liked his sun sign's vibe. I'd romanticize traits and ignore subtle emotional warning signs until things broke down. But everything changed when I started paying attention to a guy's moon and Venus. One almost ruled out a guy for me because his Venus was in Gemini, meaning he was playful and curious but not really looking for commitment. And his moon was in Aquarius, emotionally detached. I ignored the warning and jumped in anyway. The result? He wasn't trustworthy or emotionally available when I needed him most, and it hurt. After that, I committed to really knowing these placements before diving in. That decision saved me heartache down the road and helped me find people who showed up fully. More importantly, this approach applies beyond romantic relationships. When you understand these two signs in anyone, it's easier to navigate friendships, business partners, even family. You begin recognizing who is genuinely reliable emotionally and who might be more surface level or unpredictable. It's like tuning your emotional radar to catch the signals you used to miss. Imagine meeting someone and instead of guessing if they're good people, you have a clearer idea because you know how they handle feelings, moon, and how they move through the world of love and values, Venus. It's empowering and honestly a little comforting in this complicated world. Try this now. Next time you meet a new guy or someone important to you, look up his moon and Venus signs. If you don't know them, just ask. It can be a fun conversation starter, and some people love talking about it. Then pay attention over the next week or two to how those placements show up in his actions and emotional reactions. Does he match the emotional depth or detachment of his moon? Does his way of loving or valuing match his Venus description? See if it feels genuine or surface level. This little practice can train you to spot real character beneath the noise. You don't have to become a full astrology expert to try this, just a little curiosity and openness. The challenge is not to judge rigidly or box someone in, but to use these insights as one tool among many to understand people better. If you want to protect your heart and build relationships rooted in truth, this is a game changer. It's like swapping a blurry black and white TV for full-color HD TV. It just helps you see and feel the real picture. The moment that changed everything for me was realizing that character isn't just about what someone says or does on the surface. It's about their emotional truth and the kind of love they truly give, which is what Moon and Venus reveal best. So to sum up, if you want to know a man's true character, watch these two Zodiac placements. His Moon sign for his emotional core, and his Venus sign for how he loves and what he values. Dive deeper than the easy Sun sign, and you'll start to see patterns of genuine loyalty, care, and emotional availability, or the lack thereof. These signs are like emotional fingerprints, unique, telling, and often unexpected. Choose what resonates most and start with just one person. Yourself, a partner, a friend. See what you uncover. Do you already know your own moon and Venus? How do they show up in your life? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your experiences. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss more real talks that get straight to the heart of who we are. Remember, the best way to connect with others is by knowing the truth beneath the surface. Start watching these two signs, and you might never look at people the same way again.